everyone, welcome back to Life in Pixels. Thanks for joining me on yet another speed build. Today I'll be continuing my series on reimagining all the lots from the Sims Bustin Out with Goth Manor. Y'all, a couple things just to start with. For one, I'm sorry if my voice sounds like really weird and scratchy today. I've tried to record this voiceover like a couple different times because I was just not happy with the way my voice sounded, but I think that's just gonna be how it is today. It's just might sound a little bit scratchy. I don't know if it's just gunk in the air kicking up my allergies or what, or like my full-time job, I do have to talk a lot. So that might be just my voice might be tired. So anyway, I apologize for that. Second thing, y'all can see that I've already started with the shell of this build completed at the beginning of this video. And if you're a person that likes to see the shell being built, I do apologize that it's already done. That was not my original intention, especially since in my last video when I redid Studio 8, the shell was already built because I had a glitch in my recording software. I really didn't want that to happen again this time. My original intention was that I was going to play around with the shape of the build and try to make sure that I could get everything looking the way that I wanted to, because it is a really odd and peculiar shape from the original source material from Bustin' Out. And y'all, it just took me a lot longer to get the shape of this build really correct and get all the proportions right for the Sims 4 version. A lot longer than I thought it would. I don't know why I thought that it would be easy since it is such a bizarre shape. I am going to go ahead and insert a picture right now so that you can see what the original shape was. Y'all, look at that. Is that not the craziest of shapes? So I ended up turning this into a castle. It's really honestly the only thing that made sense in my mind when I was building this on why it would have such an odd shape. Now, in the original Bustin' Out version of The Sims, all of the houses were just one story, or all of the lots rather, because they weren't all houses, but all of the lots were just one story, and there weren't even roofs on them that we could see in that game. So we have no idea what the original roofing would have looked like because it didn't even exist. But the way that this was shaped and the way that the decorations were in the original game, it just screamed castle to me. And y'all, I've never built a castle in The Sims. Honestly, I don't think I built a castle in any game, but I definitely know I haven't built a castle in The Sims. So this was brand new territory for me, and it just took a heck of a lot longer than I had originally planned. And after fiddling with it for probably, 2-ish hours, I could just not bring myself to tear it all down and to rebuild it on camera because I was terrified that the proportions wouldn't be right. And my computer was also having issues at that time. I think my computer crashed like 3 different times when I had started trying to build this, so it just took forever. And then the door and window placement was a whole nother issue after that. So anyway, that's probably enough of me rambling about why the shell was already done, but I just want to let y'all know this gave me fits. I'm pretty sure in every other one of these videos I've done so far, I've been like, oh my god, y'all, this was so much fun. It pushed me out of my comfort zone so much. I loved it. That is not the case for this one. I mean, I am really happy with the way that it turned out, and it did push me outside of my comfort zone quite a bit. So all in all, I am happy with the experience of the build, but I did want to like cry, rip my hair out, and I don't know, say a little prayer while I was doing it because it was just giving me fits. Best way I can put it. As you can see, we are well into the decoration of this. I use a lot of items from vampires, and I used a lot of stuff from Realm of Magic, which was pretty cool because I have yet to build a vampire home or a spellcaster home, so I haven't used a lot of these items, so it was really fun to use them. They mesh pretty well together, and so that was a fun experience. And also throughout this build, it's mostly lit by candles and like candle chandeliers. That's also something I've never done, so that was really cool. There are a couple of lamps in here from vampires, which I assume are not candlelit because it looks like they kind of have, I don't know, a satiny type lampshade, and I don't think you want to put fire under that, but you know, you do you. But anyway, so it was really fun. Once I got the whole shell built and I was doing the decor, like, it started really coming together in my mind. In the beginning, I was like, y'all, this is gonna be a dumpster fire all the way. So a little bit of backstory on the Goths from Bustin' Out. So y'all know the Goths. They've been in every single iteration of The Sims since the original came out. However, the Goths in Bustin' Out were a little bit different. So it was Mortimer and Bella, of course, but Mortimer seemed significantly older than Bella in this iteration, and sometimes he's like a lot older than Bella. Sometimes he and Bella are like the same age. It kind of depends on the version of The Sims and what storyline they're going with, but he's older than her in this one. He's working as a mad scientist, and one of the main storyline points for him in this version of the game is that he is experimenting on plants, and he is making, like, I think venomous plants is what it was. There was like a machine that he has in a greenhouse out back, which you'll see the greenhouse in a little bit, that he made these like killer plants with. Now, we don't have anything to exactly simulate that, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get there, but I did give him like a weird creepy plant greenhouse. And then Bella was an actress in the Bustin' Out version of the game, and from what I remember in Bustin' Out, she just like complained all the time. She was kind of annoying. And another interesting thing about her in this version of the game is that she had brown hair. It was kind of like a medium light brown hair, and I'm pretty sure in every other iteration of the game she's had black hair. So that was kind of interesting. And also in Bustin' Out, Cassandra didn't exist, and I'm almost certain that Cassandra has existed since The Sims 1. I think she was a child in The Sims 1, if I remember correctly. And even though Bustin' Out was made after Sims 1, she was absent from that game. Now, y'all know how The Sims kind of like jump around their timelines, and sometimes they have alternate timelines. And since this was a spin-off of the mainline series, it very well could have been an alternate timeline, which could explain why Mortimer and Bella look different in this game and why Cassandra's not here. But I did go ahead and decorate a bedroom for Cassandra for like the child age. And the original Bustin' Out game had like a spare room where you as the player character would be able to set up your bedroom, but I didn't want to just make a generic room, so I went ahead and gave her a child bedroom. I thought about putting a crib in the room for Alexander, but I just didn't like the way it fit in, or really it didn't fit in, so I went ahead and I didn't include it. So we'll just pretend he's not born yet, or if you want to go ahead and have him be in this house, then you could go ahead and find somewhere to put a crib in. Right now you can see I'm decorating kind of a magical room. So one of the main story points of the Bustin' Out game in Goth Manor was that it was haunted by ghosts. And I remember I don't know if it was every time you played, but when I played, Mortimer was always the one that was like super freaked out by the ghost the most. They were like keeping him up at night, and one of your main goals in Bustin' Out was to complete a successful seance to rid the home of the ghosts. And we don't have a seance table, so I went ahead and I used the cauldron from Realm of Magic in the room where the seance table originally was. Now, unfortunately, if your Sims are not spellcasters, the only thing they can do with a cauldron is cook a gigantic vat of mac and cheese. But, I mean, let's be real, who does not want a giant vat of mac and cheese? That sounds so delicious. So, you know, it has a usage. But I thought it was a cute way to use all the stuff. I made it really spooky and I liked it. So it kind of gives the same vibe of there's a secret magical room in the castle. And part of it really ties into the story that I created in my head when I was reimagining this, because there is a second story on this build. It has been wallpapered, floored, and there's some doors in the main corridor. However, there are no stairs leading up to the second story, and I really didn't want to decorate the second story since it wasn't in the original source material. And also, I just could not get a staircase to fit. I tried putting stairs on the inside, I tried putting stairs on the outside. I really just could not get it to work because I didn't want to disrupt the original shape or layout too much when I was recreating this. So stairs were just not working. So I went ahead and in my mind, I was like, you know what, Mortimer and Bella, they live in this castle. It's haunted. Mortimer is super scared of all of these ghosts. And maybe they just completely knocked out those stairs wherever they might have been because they didn't want the ghosts to be able to come onto the main floor of the home. Even though in most stories, ghosts can go through walls and floors. But you know what? Let's just roll with it. If you really wanted to use the second story, I'm sure you could find a place to put the staircase if you didn't want to keep the original inside looking exactly like it is. So I think you could work it in somewhere. I just didn't like the way it looked. But again, could you imagine just a one-story castle? Like, that would look crazy. So that's why it's 2 stories, and that's why you can't see it. So roll with my little narrative so it'll all make sense for you. But other than that, the downstairs is fully furnished, fully completed, and functional. I play tested it. Everything completely works. So you're all good to go. I think we're done with the inside. I don't think I do anything else there. As you can see outside here, I'm decorating around a little bit of a graveyard. In the Bustin' Out version of the game, you could see tombstones on the right of the lot, like as you were loading in, because when you loaded in, like your character drove a car onto the lot and it always came from the right side of the screen. So you could see some tombstones, but I think once you were loaded into the lot, you couldn't actually interact with the tombstones or go out into like the yard where they were. But I thought it would be cool to go ahead and put a little graveyard here. I even put a coffin out there from vampires. And I don't know a ton about castles, so like correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't castles have their own graveyards since it was part of like the royal family? And I would think that they would want to keep their bodies somewhere protected so that not anybody could just have access to them. I don't know. So I thought creating a little bit of a graveyard looked a lot cooler than just putting a couple of random tombstones out there, because if this is a castle, I would think it'd be really guarded. And I made sure just to put a gate like in the back so that not anybody could just enter your family's graveyard from the front. So honestly, that's probably where the ghost problem is coming from, is probably not from the second story, but from right out there in the yard. But anyway, here's that greenhouse that I was talking about. I did put down in those 2 planter boxes, I put the cowberries in there that grow the cow plants. And when I went and play tested it, I did use cheats to go ahead and age the cow plants all the way up. So when I uploaded it to the gallery, they are fully grown cow plants. So I think when you download it, they'll probably be fully grown cow plants already there for you. But if not, the berries are there and they will grow. So in here, since we don't have any exact like mutant plants that Mortimer could experiment on, I used some debug plants from Get to Work, from like the alien world, and some of the plants from Strangerville to give it that like spooky and creepy mutant plant vibe. And then that table that's right there is also from Strangerville. You can't actually interact with it anything other than looking at it, but it does look like some experiments are being run on the plants, and those couple of I don't know what you call them, chambers maybe, that have some plant things in them from Strangerville. Looks like he's doing some experiments. And then I just cluttered up a shelf with some bottles from Realm of Magic to kind of make it look like potion. Well, they are potions, but like from the plants. So we're about to wrap up and head to the screenshots. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!